This is Carcassonne, one of my very favorite board games. According to the overview, the players place land tiles turn by turn. As they do so, the roads, cities, fields, and cloisters emerge and grow. On these, the players can deploy their followers to earn points. Players score points during the game and at the end. The player with the most points after the final scoring is the winner. Alright, so Carcassonne is a board game that you play with tiles. Each tile, that looks just like this, has a city, a road, a field, or one of these called a cloister. This is the player board. At the start of the game, every player is going to have a follower on the board. This is how you keep track of points. Whenever you score points, you move your character up however many points you scored. Whenever you go all the way around the board and hit 49, once you hit 50, you just turn your meeple over to signify that you're past 50. Once you're past 100, you flip it back up. This is the starting tile. The way it works is that this tile is placed first, then turn by turn, each other player picks a random tile and places it on one of the tiles that are already on the board. When you play a tile, you can use one of your followers, which are these guys, to claim or place your follower on one of the pieces on the tile. If you place him on a road, then you just place him on a road. You have to make it visible that he's on the road. If you place him on a city, place him here. If you place him on a field, however, and I'll explain what that means later, you place them sideways. With cloisters, you place your character on the cloister just like that, and you have to differentiate between the cloister and the road. But let's say the first player picked this. You cannot put something on the board like this. You can't have a road going into nothing. You can't have a... Likewise, this won't work. This won't work. This won't work. You can only have road matching road, city matching city, and field matching field, just like this. The game doesn't have to go in a straight line. It can go in any direction. So the board, as you play, expands and gets bigger and bigger. Essentially, you get points in the game when you complete things. If a person were to have their follower on this city, if someone were to place this here, that would complete the city and would therefore get them points. Then the black player could take their follower back and get points for the city. Cities are worth 2 points per tile, roads are worth 1 point per tile, and cloisters are special. Cloisters are complete when all 9 tiles, all 8 technically, tiles surrounding the cloister are complete, including the cloister themselves is 9. And you get 9 points. The only special thing about cities is that crests double the points for that city. So if this were part of a complete city, you would get 4 points for this tile instead of 2. Roads, pretty simply, are worth only 1 point per tile whenever they're complete. So if this were placed here, this is a complete road. It has to end in 2 places, just like a city has to be closed off all the way around. Fields in Carcassonne are probably the most complicated thing. And recently when I've been playing it with new people, I choose to omit the fields from the first game or two just so people can get the feel for the game without having to worry about the complexity of fields, because fields just by themselves can win a game for somebody. How fields work: if you wanted to claim a field, you would put your follower in a certain field. This field on the bottom half of this tile is separate from this field on the top half. It continues through the top half of the tile. It is separated by roads and cities and the end of tiles. What scores you points in fields is cities, complete cities. You can only get points in fields with complete cities in them. Fields are worth, well, can be worth a ton of points, but you don't ever get your meeple back, or your follower, technically. Meeple's just a phrase that board game players call little characters in games sometimes. But when you place your follower on a field, you don't get it back for the rest of the game. So choose wisely, because you only get 6 or 7 followers. If this city were in this field, then that would be a complete city, and then this follower would get the points for the city at the end of the game. If somehow another player were able to put their follower in the field connected to the same city, they both get the points. Per city in the field, in the base game, there are 3 points per complete city. That's what you get. You can have as many cities as possible. As long as the city connects to the field, you get those points. For instance, let's build a little group of cities here. All right, here's a scenario. If all 3 of these followers were in these 3 separate fields, they are separate because the city stops this field from going any further this way. Likewise here, this blue character can't go through the city in any way with the field. And likewise, the yellow character is stopped by the city. So these 3 fields are separate. At the end of the game, the yellow player, since the yellow player is touching 2 cities in this field, the yellow player would get 3 points per city, no matter how big or small it is. So the yellow player would get 6 points. Likewise, since the black player touches 2 cities, the black player would get 6 points. The blue player is only touching 1 city. This city isn't complete. You don't get points for incomplete cities. So, since there is only 1 complete city that the blue player is touching, the blue player only gets 3 points. Alright, different scenario. Let's say black has claimed this city. He's building it out this way. The rule of the game is that you can't claim something that's already been claimed. So, if it is green player's turn and they want to place this here to get in on those points, the green player cannot claim that city because it's connected to the city that black has already claimed. But one of the strategies of Carcassonne, one of many, is that you can place a city close to another city with the potential of having them connected. And if they ever do get connected, like this, and green and black are both on the same city, if the city's complete, they both share the points. However, if then black wanted to start a fight, he could put something like this here, claim this, and then build it into the city that him and green are sharing. Then black has 2 followers in the city and green only has 1. If this city were completed just like this, whoever has the most followers in the city gets all the points. But if they have the same amount of followers in the city, they share the points. This is a pretty big city, and that might be very likely to happen in a game of Carcassonne. The exact same thing can happen with roads too. Let's say black had this road and yellow had this road. If the roads were built together, they would both either share the points, or whoever could put the most followers in the road would win the whole road. That's pretty much all there is to Carcassonne. As you can tell, it's pretty simple to learn, and it's got a lot of room for strategy. So pick it up. At most places, it's between 30 and 40 bucks. And there's also an app in the App Store for Carcassonne. But it's a good game and I recommend it. So hopefully you enjoyed the short overview I gave. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment and subscribe for more.